Before I started Chapter 8, I bought a second seal for Mozu and changed her class to an archer so that I could start training up her bow rank sooner. I forgot to record this. I started off Chapter 8 by having Effie move up to take care of the village while the rest of my team moved left towards the ice lake. On turn 2, Odin and Niles appear. I put Niles to use immediately by having him stand on a forest tile while being supported by Mozu so that he can bait the dark mages with his 12 res. On the same turn, I also have Jacob bait some dark mages from the top of the map with Corn and Elise supporting him with some extra pull. Niles and Jacob easily take care of the dark mages that attack them on enemy phase, bringing in a few more enemies away from the bigger group. On turn 3, I have Silas move left to attack a dark mage with a bronze lance to set up a 1-round for Effie so that she doesn't get killed by the dark mage. I then have Mozu initiate against the remaining dark mage on the left while being supported by Niles, her now being able to survive the combat because the dark mages were supporting each other. I have Jacob move over to Mozu to heal her to full, moving everyone except for Niles to the left out of the enemy's range. Niles is left in range of a dark mage to take care of them on enemy phase. On turn 4, I move Elise over to Silas to heal him before having him take care of the village on the bottom left. I then have Corn wait in range of an enemy fighter up top while being supported by Jacob, with Effie baiting in fighters coming in from the right. Due to Corn's placement, she gets frozen by Flora's free staff at the start of enemy phase, but is still able to attract in and defeat one of the two fighters. Effie is able to do a significant chunk of damage to one of the enemy fighters coming in from the right to set up a kill for someone else. Before turn 5 starts, an enemy lancer reaches the left middle village and summons more reinforcements to deal with on the left side. I pull Silas back from the bottom left village to attack an axe fighter Corn couldn't reach due to being frozen. I then have Mozu whittle down one of the axe fighters brought in from the top, while also putting her in range to support Jacob when he attacks the enemy right in front of her. I move Elise over to heal Niles before he moves up to kill the fighter Silas did a good chunk of damage to, while Odin finishes off the fighter Mozu attacked this turn. Corn gets frozen again at the start of enemy phase, with the reinforcements from the left middle village closing in on my units. More reinforcements getting called from the top middle village. Turn 6, I have Niles attack one of the dark mages under the bottom left village with him missing one of his 2 attacks before Silas finishes them off with his bronze lance. I then have Elise move right next to Corn and freeze the fighter 3 spaces in front of Niles so that he doesn't get swarmed and killed on enemy phase. I then bring Jacob in to take the freeze staff from Elise so that he can freeze a second fighter to make managing the reinforcements easier. I move Effie over to the dark mage on the left of the fighter Jacob froze, dealing a good chunk of damage before having Mozu finish them off. I finish off the turn by having Odin move above Corn to attack the fighter Jacob froze so that they'll be easy to take care of next turn. The enemy phase begins with Flora freezing Silas before he gets attacked by a dark mage, putting him at 5 health. On turn 7, I have Corn move left to kill the dark mage that attacks Silas while also shielding him from the fighter that was behind the dark mage. I then have Odin finish off the fighter he attacked at the end of the last turn. With Silas still being exposed on one side, I move Mozo up to Niles to give him a Volinary so that he can heal to max and move left to protect Silas. With the fighter blocked off by Corn and Niles, I have Elise move in safely to heal Silas without risking her life. I then have Jacob freeze the fighter under Flora again so that I only have to deal with the fighter to the left. Flora freezes Mozu at the start of enemy phase with the left fighter attacking Niles for 9 damage, with the reinforcements from the top closing in. At the start of turn 8, I have Mozu pair up with Effie and Odin pair up with Jacob so that they can be moved out of range of the approaching enemies. Jacob moves left before using the last use of the freeze staff to freeze the fighter under Flora before having Silas kill the left fighter with Corn. I then pair up Corn with Niles and heal Effie with Elise before having Niles move to the edge of enemy range to draw Corn to take out some enemies on enemy phase. On turn 9, I keep moving my units left towards the corner of the map, having Silas attract some units towards the top of the bottom left village while Corn attracts some enemies towards the bottom of the village. Silas does massive damage to an enemy fighter while Corn takes out another fighter and attracts 3 dark mages. I start the next turn by moving Niles next to Corn so that he can take out one of the dark mages, with Mozu moving in to take out another one. Odin finishes off the fighter that Silas baited in, with Silas finishing off the last of the reinforcements from the top middle village. No enemies move on enemy phase, allowing me to set up my units to try and bait in an enemy lancer. The bait doesn't work, but it still allows me to get my units close enough to take them out. With my remaining actions for the turn, I focus on taking out Flora. I start off with Niles, taking her down to 3 health so that Odin can come in and deal 0 damage while still allowing Niles to get the kill through a pair of attack. I am rewarded for this strategy by a 1 speed level up. With the boss being in range and no more reinforcements, I pull my units around the map to take out any stragglers for some extra XP. I kill all the enemies except for a fighter and 2 mages on the middle left, as I couldn't bait them closer and I didn't want to risk losing a unit by sending someone in. The boss of the map is Kilma, a sorcerer wielding a Nosferatu tome. The Nosferatu tome is able to heal the user for half the amount of damage they dealt to their opponent, which makes it useful for tanking builds. Kilma also has the Vantage skill, which allows him to attack first regardless of which phase the turn is in, as long as he has 50% health or less. Both of these combined create a circumstance where Kilma is reasonably scary to send a unit into, as most of my units have 70% hit rates or less while only doing single-digit damage. With the only unit of mine able to reasonably survive combat with Kilma being Jacob, I have him stand in range of the boss while being supported by Corn. With Jacob's main weapon being daggers, he's able to debuff Kilma, which allows him to finish him off at the start of the next turn, ending the map. This map was a bit more difficult to handle than the last map, but it was still manageable.